In life, we play on a lot of different teams, whether we're at work, in school, or even with our interaction with our families and communities. Every day, we've got to work together if we're to accomplish much of anything. So why is that sometimes easier said than done? Well, enter Charles Archer. He has been the Assistant District Attorney in Kings County, New York, and is more recently the co-founder and CEO of the Evelyn Douglas Center for Serving People in Need, Incorporated. Good morning, Charles.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It looks like you've had a lot of different jobs looking at your bio. What are some of them, and how have they influenced your attitude toward teamwork?
I think over the last probably 20 to 25 years, I had the opportunity to be a follower as well as be a leader. And in all of the experiences ranging from early working in social service organizations to becoming an attorney and working at the Assistant District Attorney's Office, to co-founding Evelyn Douglas Center, and to even teaching at the university level. It's been an opportunity to really see up close the things that work in management and leadership and the things that don't work. And understanding that leadership is not just a one-time action, or it's not just the ability to tell people what to do or the ability to have people follow you. It becomes an evolution of learning about situational leadership, transformational leadership, all of the areas and the things that definitely go into creating and supporting and developing any type of company.
Now, I love that you say you've been at both ends of the spectrum in regards to your job. So that really will play in well with this. So how have you found that teamwork and camaraderie differ?
Teamwork and camaraderie, for me, they're both hand in hand. Mm-hmm. The one reason why I take the opportunity to talk about being a follower is because I do remember the opportunities that I had to be a team member and build camaraderie with other people, and I did not. I chose to think about myself. I chose to just be in so many ways about the people I like or the things I wanted to see done. Teamwork and camaraderie is not really just about you. It becomes about what's best for the group, what's best for the team, what's best for the company or my unit or other directors or the people that we serve as we do at EDC Spin. It becomes about other people, and that's what teamwork is. When we look at the NBA, when we look at basketball, when we look at a choir, when we look at Apple, when we look at EDC Spin, it really does become about everybody doing their part in order for anything to be successful.
Yeah, and that's why I loved your title for this new book, Everybody Paddles.
Thank you very much.
Everybody's got to have a part, right? So tell us a little bit about your principle behind it.
The one thing I'll definitely say before I get into the principles is that Everybody Paddles is about a number of different things. And in developing the principles for this book, we really looked at, what are the key things that we think that any leader needs initially in order to get some things done. So principle 1 is about unity and how that stabilizes the boat. Principle 2 is about purpose, which obviously gives you propulsion. Principle 3 is about understanding your position in the boat. So the captain will set the course, but the whole crew must paddle, and understanding that even though you might not be the captain of the ship, your contribution is really important. Communicating clearly. I can't even say enough about communication. Understanding that the verbal and the nonverbal communication becomes relevant in how we interact with each other. Then there is problem solving. For me, problem solving is about the solution and understanding that it's the solution that we should spend more time discussing and not the problem. And then the last one becomes the last principle, which is principle 6, is every crew member matters. No matter what position you are in your company, no matter if you're the receptionist, the janitor, you're the CEO, the director, or even just an administrator in HR, everybody is important, and understanding that value does make me as a leader better, and all of the leaders that I've had the opportunity to work with become better as well.
I love that you stress the communication factor, because I think in every place I've ever worked, if there was a problem, it boiled down to the fact that people weren't communicating effectively with one another.
It's very true. And in the book, what we've done really is we've taken 6 leaders in their own right, in their own business, and we've added their contributions to this book about how, in practical terms, not just my story or experience, but their story has also lived in one of the principles. And with Everybody Paddles, to be very honest with you, it becomes a situation where we want to believe that teamwork and camaraderie and consensus is easy. It's hard work. And there are moments where you realize that there are people who are not paddling. And as a leader, you have to confront it.
Right.
And oftentimes we don't want to. Sometimes we have to tell people, this is not the ship for you. This is not the boat for you. We need you to go find another boat where you can get the things you need out of a team. But at your organization or your company, we really need your contribution every day.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you finding that if people need to find another boat, is that one of the more common, maybe non-productive or dysfunctional patterns that you're encountering in the workplace?
I think in the workplace, I had this conversation speaking to a group in Connecticut earlier this week, and it becomes a situation where for certain people, they want to be happy, they want to be valuable, they want to contribute, and I want that for my people as well. So the people who are tending to leave organizations and not being asked to leave, but are leaving on their own, are leaving because they feel that there are leaders or managers that don't value them, that don't want to hear their opinions, don't want to have their contribution. And a lot of times people really just want to be heard. I don't need you to take my my recommendation, but at least hear it and give me an opportunity, because oftentimes as a leader, I personally know that my team has different thoughts and opinions that will be more effective than mine, and I must be willing to do that. For those people who wind up leaving because of other reasons, I think it's the ownership of the team to say, this person isn't working with us. This person isn't adding value. If I have to carry the load of 3 or 4 colleagues, then, it becomes more of an environment and culture thing. People become devalued and unappreciated, and no leader really wants that.
Right. So you're saying that affirmation is very important as a leader, that you want to listen and really affirm that we hear you, but also that you're opening yourselves up, that ideas can come from anywhere, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I must tell you, I've had the opportunity to look at the Steve Jobs process from beginning to end of Apple. And if you look at it, some of his ideas came from him as the main person, but a lot of the other things came from the team, and there's something to be said about someone who is a genius in his own right, saying that other people literally have as much contribution and investment into our success as I do.
Yeah, I love that. So what advice would you give to someone, say you have somebody that's brand new to management, or maybe has even managed before and now they have additional responsibility, their team has grown? What's one thing that you would pass along to them?
One, I would tell them to get Everybody Paddles, because it would absolutely help themselves and their team and the principals in it. I knew you would laugh at that. But I think the bigger thing for me, and when I say about get Everybody Paddles, I really am saying invest in yourself. Right. As leaders, we sometimes assume that we have all of the tools we need in order to be successful. And I've continued my education and I continue my development in order to become a more effective leader. That even as a writer of this book, I'm still in the process of learning new things on how to communicate with different ethnic backgrounds, demographics, age, languages, etc. And that is an art in and of itself. So investing in yourself as a leader is really important. A lot of times we want the board of directors or we want executive leadership to give us training, but there's also the piece that we have got to do it ourselves.
Excellent. I really like that. So now you had mentioned on the outset that really no matter what your position is in the company, that everybody can really utilize these principles. So how do you facilitate between those? Are you finding that those skills are different, and how regardless of your position, can you use those facilitation skills?
The one thing that we've seen a lot with this particular project, Everybody Paddles, is that it definitely transcends both for-profit and not-for-profit companies. Both of those type of entities literally want the same thing. They want happy, satisfied employees that come to work every day and help build a company. And what I find is that when you look at the implementation of the principles of Everybody Paddles, it really becomes something where at moments you might be the captain, but at moments you equally might be a follower. Mm-hmm. At moments we might go with your idea and you have to run with it, but then we also at moments where somebody else's opinion is going to get us closer to the goal. So just understanding that, you can go in and out of positions. My communication style might be effective in one particular situation, but it might mean I have to switch to a different type of communication style if I'm speaking to a different level of person or someone from a business aspect and not necessarily an internal aspect.
Right. Now, I have loved talking with you. Obviously, we could communicate for quite a while today in regard to this, because it's prevalent in every aspect of our life, whether we're dealing with our family or a church group or even on the job. So
this is the third edition of Everybody Paddles.
Okay.
And going back to the first edition of Everybody Paddles, it does touch on exactly that the principles that are in this book are applicable in every area of our lives. Mm-hmm. We should be considering our friends and partners and lovers and spouses based on the same type of the fact, are we communicating well? Do I have value in this relationship? When we send our kids to school, we want the education programs to be about the consensus of building good education platform for our kids and communities. It really does become a lifestyle about how we interact with the world and not just an isolated situation.
I love that. So if we can leave just one life lesson behind when you're gone, what do you think that would be and why?
My one life lesson, that's a very good question. I've never been asked that. I will say this, and it definitely comes from my life experience as a 42-year-old co-founder of 2 companies and a leader. The one thing that I would want to leave with the world is this, that everybody matters. That everybody really does have value. Mm-hmm. And there are different types of value and at different types of level, and yet that is absolutely true. But at the end of the day, everybody matters. And if I can leave that with the world, I'll be extremely happy.
Charles, thank you so much for joining us today. I truly enjoyed talking with you, finding out why everybody should paddle and why everybody matters. Those were 2 awesome lessons that I think we can walk away with. And I can't stress enough for our listeners, please pick up a copy of Charles Archer's 3rd edition of this book, Everybody Paddles, or you can visit everybodypaddles.com. Charles, thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great day.
You too.